I will tell you the absolutely depressing story of one of the saddest games I've ever played. I was in a tournament, and it was the last round, and I was sitting in a cafe. I had about an hour to prepare for my opponent. My opponent was in first place. He needed to win to get an international master norm. I needed to beat him to get first place. He had like 6 points, I had 5.5. If I beat him, I get first place. He beats me, he gets an IM norm. So I spent an hour and a half in a cafe before the game thinking, what am I gonna play against this guy? He plays d4, c4, knight f3 on the first 3 moves. And I came up with a plan. I was going to learn the Bogo Indian. I was going to learn this opening, which I have never played in my life ever. I found his anonymous Lee Chess account. I studied this line, queen e7, which is not a popular line, but the idea is to go take, knight here, d6, and have a very solid position. Now, the main line for white is a draw. If both sides know what they're doing, it's a draw. And he can't afford a draw, so he's gonna have to take some risk. So guess what happened? Look at the time. Watch the time. Look at the opening. I got a 20-minute advantage in the opening, and I got 1 pawn up, and I held on to that pawn. The opening went perfectly. I was -1, and I was up 15, 20 minutes on the clock. And now all I needed to do was consolidate my queenside and jump in here with the knight. All right? And everything was going swimmingly. I was pushing his pieces backwards. And then here, for whatever reason, I just didn't jump in. Like, I didn't jump in. I decided, you know what? I'm gonna repeat moves once and do this in a slightly different way. All right? I'm gonna do this in a slightly different way. And then he got aggressive with me. And he started trying to create some counterplay. And once again, I did not play knight d3. For some reason, I was worried about some weird counterplay. And now, watch the time. The time is getting closer. All right, I play queen f8. He plays g4, which is just a bad move. During the game, I had calculated g5, which was just like a very strong counterattacking measure. And I was really scared here that he could like sacrifice something or, you know, attack me somehow. And I was really worried he would play like h4. And he just doesn't have anything. Like knight d3, if he plays h4, could just play like b4. Like I just needed to calculate a little bit better. But I got scared. And I started like panicking and going backwards. And you know what I blundered? I blundered after gh6, gh6, that he has just a check. And now the incredible thing about this position is, this is bad for white. But psychologically, I was so rattled by this move and losing my pawn, I couldn't recover. So I started spending way more time. And notice, I'm gonna start tanking soon. Like, I'm gonna start spending way too much time. And the game is very back and forth. And all of a sudden, he just consolidates everything. And I just have nothing. I have 11 minutes versus 6. And I just go on to completely throw the game. And the most insane thing is, he actually blunders over here. He blunders bishop e4, queen f4. Knight h3 is a fork, and he can't take because of the pin. But I was so devastated already that there was just nothing that I could do. Like I was so devastated that I had thrown the game and I had to save a move before I resigned.